Imagine this, you dedicate your entire life to someone. Every early morning, every late night, every sacrifice, all for their future. And just when you think your hard work has paid off, everything changes. This is the story of Mama Binta, a mother whose love for her only daughter knew no limits. In the bustling streets of Lagos, she worked tirelessly, day after day, selling akara, enduring the heat, the exhaustion, and the relentless grind. Her dream: to see her daughter, Binta Jr., live a life she could only imagine. But sometimes, love and loyalty don't guarantee kindness in return. How does a bond forged in sacrifice unravel into heartbreak? What happens when a mother's whispered prayer becomes something far more powerful? Stay with me as we uncover a tale of love, betrayal, and the consequences that follow. And if you enjoy stories like this, stories that teach, move, and inspire, make sure you subscribe. Let's begin. In the heart of Lagos, where the streets never truly sleep, Mama Binta began her days before the first light of dawn. Her routine was as grueling as it was unchanging. She would rise, prepare her beans, and fire up the oil for her small wooden stall where she sold akara, deep-fried bean cakes that filled the air with a savory aroma. Her stall was modest, built from weathered planks, but it stood strong amidst the chaos of the bustling city. Under the relentless sun, she stood, hands calloused and body drenched in sweat, serving her loyal customers. And when the day ended, she didn't rest. Instead, she walked to a local eatery to wash dishes, earning just enough to feed her daughter and keep her dream alive. Mama Binta's entire world revolved around her only child, Binta Jr. She called her B, a nickname that carried the weight of her love and hope. To her, Binta wasn't just a daughter, she was a reason to endure, a light in the darkness. Every naira she earned, every sleepless night she faced, was for Binta's education, a chance at a life far better than her own. In their tiny, dimly lit room, Binta would often sit by her mother, studying by candlelight. They shared laughter, stories, and dreams of a future where hardship was a distant memory. One day, Mama, Binta would say with a smile, "You'll never have to work so hard again." Those words became Mama Binta's lifeline, a promise she clung to as she pushed through the endless grind. But promises can be fragile. And sometimes, the dreams we hold closest become the ones that hurt us the most. Mama Binta had no way of knowing just how much those words would come to haunt her. Binta was everything Mama Binta had dreamed her daughter would become. Bright, determined, and full of potential. In school, Binta excelled in her studies, earning the highest scores in her class. Her teachers spoke of her with admiration, calling her a star destined for greatness. And when she secured a scholarship to continue her education, Mama Binta wept tears of joy. All the long days and sleepless nights seemed to finally be worth it. Graduation day was the proudest moment of Mama Binta's life. Clad in her simple but clean dress, she watched her daughter receive her degree, her heart swelling with pride. That night, Binta embraced her mother tightly, her voice trembling with emotion. "Mama, I'll make you proud," she promised. "We'll leave this life behind together." True to her word, Binta landed a job as a sales supervisor at a reputable company. Her first salary was more money than Mama Binta had ever held in her hands at once. They celebrated together in their small home, dreaming of a brighter future that seemed closer than ever. But as Binta's career blossomed, so did her social circle. It was at a corporate event that she met Charles, a man who would change her life forever. Charles was everything Binta had never known: wealthy, confident, and generous. He swept her off her feet with grand gestures, expensive gifts, candlelit dinners, and promises of a luxurious life. Their relationship progressed quickly, and before long, Binta married into Charles's world of opulence. She moved into a sprawling mansion, surrounded by wealth and comfort she had only seen in movies. For Mama Binta, it seemed like a dream come true. Her daughter had risen above the hardships of their past. But as Binta's new life unfolded, subtle changes began to emerge. The calls to her mother grew shorter, less frequent. The visits home became rare, overshadowed by her new responsibilities and lifestyle. For Mama Binta, the bond they had shared, once so strong, began to feel like a distant memory. What starts as a celebration of success can sometimes carry seeds of heartbreak. And for Mama Binta, those seeds were beginning to take root. When Binta invited her mother to move into the mansion, Mama Binta's heart overflowed with joy. "Mama, it's time for you to enjoy the life you helped me build," she said with a smile. For Mama Binta, it was a dream come true. Finally, she would leave behind the struggles of her old life and step into a world of comfort. But when she arrived at the grand home, her excitement gave way to quiet disappointment. Instead of being welcomed into the heart of the house, she was led to a small, modest room in the backyard. It was clean and functional, but it felt detached, both from the luxurious life her daughter now lived and from the closeness they once shared. Mama Binta told herself it was enough, that she was lucky to be near her daughter at all. However, as days turned into weeks, Mama Binta began to feel the weight of her new reality. Binta, once her affectionate and devoted child, now treated her with cold indifference. "Mama, can you clean the kitchen before the guests arrive?" she would say in a tone that felt more like an employer than a daughter. "And don't forget to prepare dinner tonight." At first, Mama Binta obeyed without complaint. She reminded herself that Binta was busy, that the pressures of her new life must be overwhelming. But the commands grew more frequent, the tone more dismissive. The bond they once shared felt like a distant memory, replaced by an unspoken hierarchy where Mama Binta no longer felt like a mother, but like a maid. The breaking point came during a dinner party, with Charles's colleagues in attendance. As Mama Binta served food, a simple mistake, a dropped plate, drew Binta's sharp reprimand. "Mama, can you be more careful? You're embarrassing me," she snapped, her voice cutting through the room like a blade. The guests fell silent, their eyes shifting awkwardly, but no one intervened. That night, Mama Binta sat alone in her small room, her hands trembling as tears streamed down her face. She thought of the countless sacrifices she had made, the sleepless nights, the endless work, the dreams she had put aside, all for her daughter. And now, this. Her chest heaved as she whispered through her sobs, "As you have treated me, so shall your children treat you. May you feel the pain you've given me." Her words hung in the air, heavy with anguish. Was it a curse? A prayer? Or simply the cry of a broken heart? Only time would tell what the future held for Binta. But one thing was certain, the mother who had once sacrificed everything was now left with nothing but pain. Mama Binta's once strong body began to fail her, The years of hard labor had taken their toll, and the stress of her daughter's treatment only made things worse. She fell ill, her frail body unable to keep up with the demands placed upon her. She called out for Binta, hoping for a moment of compassion, but her daughter was too busy, too preoccupied with her new life to notice. It was Charles who stepped in. Unlike his wife, he treated Mama Binta with kindness and dignity. He arranged for her to see a doctor, stayed by her bedside, and ensured she had what she needed to recover. In those moments, Mama Binta saw in Charles the care she had longed to see in her own child. But the pain of her daughter's indifference cut too deep. When she regained her strength, Mama Binta made a quiet decision. She packed her belongings and left the mansion, returning to the simple life she had once shared with her daughter. It wasn't an easy choice, but she knew it was the only way to reclaim her dignity. For her, peace was better than the luxury that came with humiliation. Back at the mansion, Binta's life seemed perfect to outsiders. She was wealthy, successful, and respected. But behind the polished facade, cracks were beginning to form. Her children, now growing older, began to pull away. They ignored her calls, dismissed her advice, and treated her with the same coldness she had once shown her own mother. Professionally, Binta's career started to falter. Deals fell through, her colleagues turned distant, and she found herself isolated in a world she once commanded. With each setback, memories of her mother's words echoed in her mind, "As you have treated me, so shall your children treat you." At first, Binta dismissed it as coincidence, a series of unfortunate events. But as the distance between her and her children grew, and her once flawless career continued to crumble, she could no longer ignore the truth. One evening, as she sat alone in the grandeur of her home, Binta's thoughts drifted back to the night of her mother's departure. She remembered the sadness in Mama Binta's eyes, the whispered words of despair. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered to herself, "What have I done?" Was this the curse her mother had spoken of? Or was it simply the weight of her own actions, the natural consequence of neglecting the one person who had given her everything? The answer didn't matter. The pain she felt now was undeniable, and the regret was a burden she would carry forever. Now, let me ask you, have you ever seen a parent taken for granted? Maybe you've seen the sacrifices they make, quietly, without complaint. What would you do if you were in Binta's shoes? And if you were Mama Binta, could you forgive? This story also speaks to something deeply rooted in African culture, the importance of respect for elders. In our traditions, parents are the cornerstone of the family, and their blessings are considered sacred. This tale serves as a cautionary reminder for all generations. To value and honor our elders is to ensure the blessings of peace and prosperity. But when we forget their sacrifices, when we treat them with indifference, we risk not just their pain but also the loss of something far greater, the love that holds families together. So, as you go about your day, think of the parents, the guardians, the elders in your life. Have you shown them the gratitude they deserve? Or is there something more you can do to honor them before it's too late? Mama Binta's story isn't just a tale, it's a reminder, a warning, even. The bonds we break today can haunt us tomorrow. Respect your parents, for their blessings, and their curses, carry a power greater than we often realize. Now, let me ask you, what do you think of this story? Do you believe in the power of a mother's blessing or curse? Have you ever seen something like this happen in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if this story moved you, inspired you, or made you reflect, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more African tales that teach powerful lessons. Thank you for watching, and remember, honor those who raised you, because their love and sacrifice are the greatest gifts you'll ever receive. Until next time.